has controlled the world for 200 plus years, and we get to be alive at a time to see it fall. I believe in the power of one person working as a team with other Christian patriots can have massive impact in reversing this ungodly culture. I believe that we have an omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent God that has put his hand on this moment in time to deny the timeline of the enemy and is about to heal our land. This is Rick, your host, and I believe that God has called me to empower Christian patriots with truth. Join us now for the Blessed to Teach show, and let's see what God is doing today. Welcome, it's Rick B2T. We're here to empower Christian patriots with truth the next few hours. Second hour will be praise and prayer, so join us there on the Word and Worship channel or on Faith and Freedom TV. But right now we're going to be talking about more Q nods from the White House, from the Department of Defense, from Trump himself. Wow, I guess he's trying to get that question asked again, and now that the media's been ignoring it for so long. So it's like deja vu from when they just completely ignored it, and then they went on the attack for like 4 years with massive 3,000, 4,000 articles lying to you about what the Q drops were about. But wow, and the SCOTUS, all kinds of opinions coming out on SCOTUS when now they gave Trump way more power. Amy Coney Barrett sided with who I think is a complete cabal criminal, our Chief Justice, to basically make it harder for to have voter integrity. And so we'll talk about that, about how that deception was. But that is going to be a good thing because it just puts more emphasis on the SAVE Act that's probably never going to be passed and will be the reason why Trump has to do a national emergency. That's my prediction there. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments. I can see your comments on YouTube and on Rumble as well as Backstage Zoom. So in any of those three areas, I know we're also live on Facebook and Faith and Freedom TV and X. But those are the three places. If you want to, I can put your comments up here on chat. Pretty cool. All right, let's get into this and right into the breaking news now. We did start a little bit late here on purpose because we have a guest coming on all the way from, is it Thailand? Where he is? I can't remember exactly where. I think it's but anyway, he is John Michael Chambers, our live guest, giving us updates on GITMO. What's going on there? What he's seen from all his military, these military anons, if you will. Juan Osava and many other people coming that understand Michael Jaco. So he has these big, huge powwows, if you will, and gets major intel about what's going on in GITMO, what's going on with the whole military operation in this. So that is exciting times. Let's move to some breaking news. All right, here's the justice overturn a 1935 precedent. This is, and you see this, they overturned. This is finally getting some constitutional type SCOTUSes in there. You're now seeing just like the Roe versus Wade overturning. Now this is a 1935 precedent. It's backing the president's power to remove agency heads. So since 1935, remember what happened in the 1930s. The Titanic sinks, kills the people that were against the Fed, and all of a sudden you had the Federal Reserve come in, you have the Rockefeller medicine coming in, and so you have the IRS coming in. All this happening back in the 1930s, and they also put a rule in where the president couldn't fire people. And so now the country's turning around finally, guys. So it just basically restored the power from the removed the SES, right? These people that are suing him, saying, no, you can't fire me. So this was a big ruling. It's called the Slaughter ruling, which is really interesting. So we'll dig into what that really means. But again, this is a 6-3 decision on Trump versus Slaughter, right? And Rebecca Slaughter saying, hey, you can't fire me. So we'll get into a little bit more of that, because there's this has some bigger ramifications than what you're thinking probably. And so here's Trump talking about it. He says, to show the importance of the Slaughter case, 90 years of precedent has been completely and unequivocally overruled, greatly increasing presidential power at a time when it's needed. That's most needed. That, and you know what? That is pointing to potentially quite a few things that he's going to have to do with his national powers as well. That is, and part of this is getting rid of a bunch of people in government that shouldn't be here because they don't want to pursue the Trump agenda. Now here's Clandestine talking about this, right? Again, we just saw that. This is a little bit different approach. It says, today's historic Slaughter decision by the Supreme Court is the greatest increase in presidential power in the last 100 years. Such a monumental ruling, such an important time. Now, so he put like 4 truths out about this, which is really interesting. And this is talking about why it's significant. This is a major structural shift in U.S. government. It applies to roughly 24 independent regulatory agencies and commissions with multi-member boards and similar for cause protections. These include the FTC, that's the Antitrust Consumer Protection, the FCC, the Broadcasting Telecom, the FEC, the Campaign Finance Elections, the EEOC, that's the Employment Discrimination, the NLRB, Labor Relations, the CPSC, Product Safety, the MSBPB, Federal Workforce Appeals, the CFTC, Commodities and Futures, and others. It accelerates the erosion of the independent agency model that Congress built over decades, especially after the New Deal, to create expert, somewhat insulated regulators less swayed by short-term presidential politics. So interesting, is that not? And so here's Clandestine's take on this, an anon that says Trump is really emphasizing the importance of the Slaughter decision at the Supreme Court. It allows him to hire the heads of independent agencies. Power of the bureaucracy has been shifted dramatically in favor of POTUS. Trump is now allowed to cleanse any deep state tentacles that were embedded in the regulatory agencies. Trump now has control over who oversees these agencies and can install loyalists. Not only that, this ruling solidifies Article 2 and establishes precedent for other similar cases. The Supreme Court just solidified that the executive holds the ultimate authority. There's a balance of power, but the executive branch outweighs the other two. That's the whole point. The Supreme Court just solidified that the executive holds the ultimate authority. This could come in handy later, especially when it comes to national emergencies for our elections. In conclusion, massive victory for the Trump and the MAGA. The swamp is being drained. So, and now here's another guy's take on this, right? Nobody is telling you what SCOTUS actually handed Trump today. The headlines say Trump wins a fight to fire the FTC commissioner, which was what this was all about, right? That's the smallest version of the story. Here's what actually happened since 1935. Humphrey, Executor versus United States has been the legal wall protecting every independent agency from direct presidential control, antitrust enforcement, merger reviews, consumer protection, labor relations, security regulation. That wall is gone. Woo! 6-3, Chief Justice Roberts writing. And here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Democrats spent the last 4 years loading those commissions with commissioners specifically designed to block Trump's agenda from inside its own executive branch. Rebecca Kelly Slaughter was one of them. Fired March 2025, she sued, and she lost. The FTC is just the first domino. NLRB, SEC, EEOC, every commission that wields executive power now sits under the same logic the courts just applied. 91 years of precedent, gone in one opinion. One carve-out the Federal Reserve. Now, there was another decision came in and said he couldn't fire anybody in the Federal Reserve, showing it's not federal. is that not just obvious? I mean, so you can fire anybody in the federal government, but you can't fire anybody in the Federal Reserve. Why? Because it's a banking cartel that's completely independent, that is stealing our money, right? Everyone else just became the presidents to control. The independent agencies were never truly independent. Today, SCOTUS made that the law. Woo, woo, woo! So, again, this is huge, guys, but because it exposes the Federal Reserve for what it is. It's a international independent banking cartel, right? Of international bankers. And Trump can't even, the president of the United States can't fire somebody that's on this thing. That is that controls our monetary policy completely, and they can literally, and they do, cause massive depressions and economy accelerations. It goes woo, woo, woo. Why? Because they do quantitative loosening, where they basically just flood the money in there, and there's extra money out there, so people are buying stocks and everything's growing, and that's what they did right before 1929. And then they just do quantitative tightening, and boom, crash. They did the same thing for us in 2008, where closed down massive number of small businesses, and they buy up all the stuff, all the elite do. So wow. Now here's some other ones that are a little more extreme thinking about this. So this is Captain Kyle saying, big win just moments ago in the Supreme Court. And he's talking about PEDS, these Presidential Emergency Action Documents, are highly specified classified subsets of presidential emergency powers. They are pre-drafted executive orders, proclamations, and messages to Congress kept ready to sign in case of severe crisis like a nuclear attack or attack by your election infrastructure, right? While the president's standard power are defined by Article 2 of the Constitution, PEDS are specialized break glass in case of emergency documents. And so this is basically just talking about the Supreme Court slaughter case, and he's at the end of this one. This is like, I haven't showed you this one yet. It's like he's had 4 of these on this. He's basically saying, in the slaughter case, confirming presidential power in the country to remove executive branch officers and agency appointees or representatives under Article 2. This decision was long sought by United States presidents dating back all the way to the 1930s. It is such an honor to be sitting president who won this historic, unprecedented ruling, one of the most important ever given with respect to presidential powers. And now so that's why he's pointing back, Captain Kyle here, to the PEDS, right? They'll hold more authority now. He feels that power will be there. And this person even takes it to another, kind of using the word slaughter. And in fact, if you know, November 5th is election day, or even close to that, right? Is known to be American as election day. Did you know that also Slaughter Day, which references traditional day on a homestead or a farm when livestock are harvested, processed for meat, often after fattening in the fall and winter, is common rural term? Globalists set election day on November 5th on purpose. Congress fixed it in 1845 as the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November for farmer practices that tied to the occult rituals, human animal sacrifice symbolism, or elite slaughter of the people's will via rigged system. They picked a midweek date to suppress the turnout and control outcomes, being sure to tie together the symbolism of the slaughter with their rigged elections. Symbolism. So perhaps delaying this upcoming election. So this is like, there's a lot of people now talking about this. 107 has been pushing this as well, that you just had the primaries done with selection machines, right? You have and bad voter rolls in 31 of these states. So perhaps delaying the upcoming election due to massive fraud, along with foreign intelligence and proceeding further under the national security emergency, we can also set a date in the spring of the new beginnings and finally end November 5th, Slaughter Day. So this will be really interesting. Could this happen where we don't have to have it on November 5th and have the power of the presidency to do the national emergency on elections and potentially push the election back to basically redo the primaries, right? We're taking it all back. making elections free and fair, again, under springtime blossoms and new beginnings, where we the people voice will never be stolen again. And they put a eradicating the slaughter day, and basically moving to spring elections. That would be really interesting, wouldn't it be? I tell you what. Okay. Hey, guys, I wanted to show you this. Get up to 65% off. This is the sponsor for this episode. It's QE Strong. You can see this. The new ones actually are termed Executor Strong. So you want to go to exestrong.com. Exestrong.com. These are awesome. These red light therapy is showing so much promise now. And if you actually have something that you can carry around and actually put to a pointed area like your elbow or your neck or something that's hurting, this is the power of red light and enhanced relief in a wand that you can carry. Way less expensive than most what you can get in other areas. And so this is a great thing. Go to extrastrong.com. I use this right here. This is my Extra Strong red light therapy wand. I actually like a couple of them because in case I misplace one or I'm taking one to the office versus there, or you have some for the family members. So that's why there's a deal where you can get multiple of these at a big discount. So whether you have knee, back, or pain, or people use it on their face as well as their neck, shoulder, this is the whole point, is getting red light therapy where you need it in a very pointed fashion. It only takes like 3 to 5 minutes a day. Some people, and if it's a big pain, you can use it like 3 times a day as well, right? So very simple to use. Go to for this one, go to extrastrong.com. That's extrastrong.com, and you'll see the red light therapy, and grab yourself. If you get multiple of these, you'll get these at only $74 each. It's $117 for one of them. But again, if you use my code B2T, it falls down significantly. I think you get a 15% discount. So this would be under $100 for one, and you can get down to like $68 or so for a pack of 4. So go get your red light therapy wands at exodusstrong.com. All right, Supreme Court allows the states to count mail-in ballots that arrived late, rejecting the RNC challenge. So this is the bad news part of the day, as where you see Amy Coney Barrett basically writing the opinion for with the Democrats. She sides with the Democrats, doing something very silly, and of course John Roberts sides with the Republicans at all times when it doesn't matter, but when it does matter, he always leans over and votes with the cabal. And the cabal needs to stay in power. They need the selection machines. They need mail-in ballots, and they need to be able to count them after the election's over. So this is obviously they've strong-armed Amy Coney Barrett as well as Roberts for quite some time, and again, this person I thought did a great analysis. He says, am I surprised by this? No. We're using the midterms to spotlight the rot that exists in all levels of government when it comes to elections. So the good news about this is it's spotlighting our rotten elections, right? You can't get the SAVE Act to basically say you're a citizen. You can't get a SAVE Act to say you have to show your ID. And now you can't even say that you have to get the ballot in on time. It's like, are you kidding me? This is going to give teeth for Trump to be able to do the national emergency, right? And whether it's delayed elections or whether it's to basically say we're not going to allow federal elections for anybody that hasn't cleaned up their voter rolls. All this is going to come to a head before November. Supreme Court rules states may count some mail ballots received after Election Day. Again, 5-4 decision. This is why Roberts could have sided with the Republicans and the conservatives that want election integrity. But he always goes against us when it's a 4-4. Does that make sense? When it's a 6-3, he always, so he can show, hey, I almost always vote with the conservatives and the Republicans. But it never matters. Whenever it matters, Roberts goes with the cabal, with the elites. Okay? That's why we know he's completely compromised. And it'll be real interesting to see what they've got on Amy Coney Barrett. There's a lot of discussions about how she is being controlled. Now here's Mike Benz. saying that, ain't that a kick in the head? Deciding voting was Amy Coney Barrett, who also flubbed the Murray versus Mississippi case, censorship case. So again, that's at 5-4, and people just kind of shocked about it. But now Trump answers it like this, and this is to me the whole point of Patriots in control / let's do this, right? In light of the tremendous loss in the Supreme Court today concerning voter rights and the fact that people's votes are allowed to be counted long after the election is over, it is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act, which is all voters must show voter ID, all voters must show proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military development, or travel. There's no excuse for politician or otherwise to be against the above three requirements. There is only one reason to oppose: cheating. The House of Representatives has approved this vital act 3 times. The United States Senate seems unable to do so. In a time when there is a powerful communist movement taking place in our country, one more danger that World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, and September 11th, all Democrats and our 5 Republican Senate holdouts, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, and Mitch McConnell, must vote to save our country. There can be no more excuses. Thanks for your attention to this matter. So they did some counts and showed they had 50 votes. And so I'm not sure if they're now saying there's not by some of them concerned. But that all they do have to do is say, hey, go through the process that you're supposed to go through. We have the majority. We can pass a law based on the majority. But what's going on is that they are saying no, they're going to filibuster it. And so then let them filibuster. They only can talk twice, and they only have so many senators. It may take up a week or 2 of time, maybe even 2.5 weeks. But we could get to a vote. They could get this done if they wanted to, but they don't want to. Why? Because they're controlled by the elites. That's why. It's very obvious. Chip Roy is sitting there talking against it. Now I think he's a rhino. He's come out of he's in Texas, in my state. I'm not going to even play it because he's sitting there buttering up to Trump, trying to become our attorney general to replace Paxton, and as Paxton knocked out Cohen, right? That was really good stuff. But anyway, let's move on. This is the Q part of this, guys. This is amazing. You see, here is another post. This happened a couple of days ago, right, on June 27th. Again, the White House X account saying Patriots in control. Clear term all over the Q drops, right? Patriots in control. It said locked in, and a flag with a salute and a locked in Patriots in control. This is like, there's about 20 of these that have happened over the last month. Okay. So it's become very obvious. I think they're pushing this just like the deja vu I was talking about, where they totally ignored the Q, hoping it would go away. And it got so big and grew so big that they finally had to attack it with every ounce of energy that MSM could muster, and slimed it for 4 years, right? And then now they've just been quiet again, hoping that it'll go away. But now that they're doing this, it's going to force the media to address it again, right? And I think that's exactly what they want. Now here's a graphic. I like this graphic here that shows like here's one post that is 1306. It basically says define cover. Why did we strike Syria? Why did we really strike Syria? Define cover. Patriots in control. Q. Right? And this is the whole thing about uranium. Most of the Q drops were really pointing toward the Obama administration and Hillary being so crooked that they sold basically nuclear weapons to our enemy by giving them uranium. Right? That's almost impossible to find and enrich. And so we gave 20% of our uranium through Russia that ended up in Syria and ended up in North Korea and Iran. So this is all being exposed now. Look at this. Here's another one that was post 1912. Smile for the camera. Patriots in control, right? This whole thing about the Inspector General report on crimes against children, the end of this one says, Patriots in control. The world will know the truth. Q. Right? So just wanted you guys to see that these posts are going to force the media to acknowledge about that the Q drops woke up people, and the fact that they're putting these back in makes me think that Q might post again, but more likely it's trying to continue to get the anons the motivation to continue to dig, because there's a bunch more stuff coming out, right? As you know, Trump put this out on his Truth Social, the exact same picture that he had in Q drop 4205. The only thing they did is he added an H in the picture, but again, Trump 20. So people are analyzing, what's that mean? They added the H. But one part of this is interesting. If you look at the timestamp of when Trump posted this, 12/36/35, and the timestamp of what this was way back in 2020, you look at the difference in that, it points to 104. And post 104 says, now's the time to pray. We're operational. God bless the United States of America. Q. And that's interesting because the very next day, Trump posts something interesting. He basically said, pray, right? See if I can find that. I've got it out. There it is. So Trump posts this. You can see this is today. He said it says prayers, right? It's like, well, okay, now that's interesting, isn't it? I'm going to put that in the right place. So again, when they're pointing to this 104, now's the time to pray. We're operational. God bless the United States. And then Trump on his True Social points to a bunch of people praying for him, and it says God and country, basically saying, replying to this, and it says prayers, and Trump retruths it. So that is kind of interesting, isn't it? And that's what we need to be doing, guys. Use the power of authority that we've got through prayer. That is a power and authority that we have, that we've been given. It's an amazing tool. So use your authority in Christ and pray that our elections are secure and we get rid of the machines. It's not just a SAVE Act. We got to get rid of the machines too. And the voter rolls need to be completely redone and start from scratch. That's what most people think. Now here's another one that was just kind of interesting, another Q drop that where it goes back to a few things. And it's talking about, there was a couple posts, one way back here. You can see the little Q there. And this came from the Homeland Security. X account says the historic signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill nearly 1 year ago revitalized our USGC. Thanks to POTUS Trump, and the U.S. Coast Guard stands ready and energized to protect our waters. And it's Patriot GameCube. So, and there was another post that came in that showed a kind of like a video game of Trump being strong and stuff. The whole point that point's kind of like this: shall we play a game once more? That way back in 2022, where Trump posted. I mean, the Q drop was 49.54, and then that points to some of the posts I just read you about. I've been waiting and preparing for this time for a long time. I actually read this yesterday with you, where he's talking about communism. The communists are finally making their move. I've been waiting and preparing for this for a long time. At the end of this, he says, the game is on. So a lot of people are pointing to that, hey, this is the game that is on now. And part of this game is exposing Obama for who he really is, right? And this talks about that starts digging into some more details about that. I'm not going to go to much more there because it's kind of fun and a little bit complex, but pretty cool to see all these 20 plus Q drops or Q terms being posted by the Trump administration and Trump, right? Now, plagued by fraud, RFK Jr. and Dr. R say more than 1 million people without Social Security numbers enrolled in Obamacare. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? So by the way, Michael Chambers on GITMO is going to be coming on at the top of the hour. So here pretty soon. I'm checking the clock. See what the clock says. It says 5:44. So about 15 minutes or so, we'll have John Michael Chambers, the GITMO expert, the expert on Q drops and what they're saying about the military operational part about this. So pretty cool. So over 1 million people without Social Security numbers enrolled in Obamacare. So Obamacare was a big slush fund, just like USAID, right? Try to force you to buy insurance, which was unconstitutional, and they overruled that. I think it was Christmas night or something like that is when they pushed this Obamacare through. They bribed some Supreme Court justices not to shoot it down for its constitutionality. One of them, I believe, was Roberts again. Now we're seeing it's a big fraud machine, just like many other of these programs. Now, Trump is basically showing that Iran has requested a meeting. It will take place tomorrow in Doha. I think Trump knows that you cannot do a deal with terrorists. But what he's now eliminated since the war of the Israelis and the United States took out 2 levels of leadership, and they're dealing with a 3rd level. And now he's saying he's even talking to 3 different levels from then. He could be down to level 5 trying to find reasonable people that will talk to the Islamic Republic, giving up their guns because we the people are going to destroy them in Iran, right? So it's either going to be, do you want to be destroyed by Israel and the United States, or do you want to be destroyed by your own people, but you're going to be destroyed, right? And so I believe his whole point is trying to get the oil prices down, get all the countries to unite against Iran, which he's done beautifully with the Abraham Accords and also with the fact that he's got the Board of Peace. So this is I believe he's doing brilliant behind the scenes stuff. And you have basically all these people thinking, oh, I am so smarter than Trump. Trump's being stupid. He thinks he can work with terrorists. Trump is so stupid. Yeah, right. Look what the man's done. Let him cook is what I always say. Let him cook. Quit questioning every single decision because you don't know what's going behind the scenes. And I believe they've already got new leaders that they're working with, and they're about ready to do they're exposing the Islamic Republic as they go here. That's what I believe is happening. And here's Trump again, basically trying to hold the oil companies responsible for making sure they reduce the prices quickly. They increased them really quickly when the barrel went up, right? Even though they had bought a bunch of oil at the lower price. So the excuse for not lowering prices, well, I bought that at the higher price. But again, it goes both ways, dudes. So Trump's trying to hold them accountable by saying WTI crude is $69 and heading down. This is less than it was prior to the start of the denuclearization of Iran. And so he's warning people. He's warning these oil companies. He's done that in multiple posts now. All right, we're going to be getting into with Mike with this military intelligence, economic, healthcare reporting. And this is I'm just going to introduce you a little bit to the guest for tonight. It's kind of going to be kind of fun to get him in. You'll find him at johnmichaelchambers.com or jmcbroadcasting.com, and he just does some great work. We're working to start bringing some of his programming on Faith and Freedom TV, faithandfreedom.tv. But really where most of the engagement's happening is faithwiththeendfreedom.social. You'll see the Great Awakening in modern day history, the Global Reset. There's a lot of discussion about that. So we have a lot of questions. If you have questions for John Michael Chambers with all the intel he gets, get your questions in either Rumble, YouTube, or Backstage Zoom, and I'll try to get all of those answered. And I can post some of those questions up. So if you got specific questions on what this, GITMO expert / Intel expert that really interviews all the other Intel people, it's fun to get updates from him. So you can see he does a real good job updating. JohnMichaelChambers.com is one of the places you can find him. And you also find him on Rumble, JMC Broadcasting. That's for those of you on audio. That's JM as in Mary, C as in Cat, Broadcasting. John Michael Chambers, and he just put something out 2 hours ago. You can see there, Freedom at Last on Tina Peters, and does some really good work on so many other things. This is the Blessed to Teach X account. We're live there now. You can see it says live. So I want to make sure you guys knew that, because I have changed this at B2T show, but also this is where I'm putting my faith and freedom stuff as well. So come here if you want to really get the updates on some of this stuff. Here's I wanted to kind of review a couple of things that I had highlighted earlier. I have now we've finished the 7-day series of the rapture, what the Bible really says. It was such a fun thing for me to do. So those of you who have not been able to join our teachings on the Word and Worship channel, you can go right directly to the XX and find it, or you can just go to faithandfreedom.social, faith with the N, freedom.social. You'll see all 7-day teachings there. It's got great graphics and really digs into what the Bible really says about the rapture on all 7 days. So don't miss that. I also wanted to show some of these things. This is a skip. 275,000 fraudulent ballots found in one Arizona county during the 2020 election, in a state that Joe Biden's margin of victory was only 10,457. Look at that. 275,000 fraudulent ballots. Let's listen to this.
Findings from the independent audit. Already, we have 275,000 potential fraudulent ballots. That includes 168,000 that were printed on thin paper outside of the regulations of Maricopa County. You have 75,000 ballots that were supposed to be mailed out, but they have no record of them ever being sent. You also have 18,000 voters who were purged from the voter rolls, who voted in the election, but were purged after the election. And here's a significant one, Brett, if I could bring up, that Maricopa County will not touch. 3,981 people voted despite registering after the October 15th court-ordered deadline. And here's the key question. That means Maricopa County certified false results. And if we still have a free country with one set of rules for every American, those votes need to be thrown out immediately. Or do we live in a communist country where votes turn up 100 to nothing? No, that does not say for Joseph Stalin. It says for Joseph Biden. That's in Fulton County, Georgia. If we're going to keep a country free, we need to have these audits to get to the bottom of it, because 100 to nothing is not the United States of America.
Findings from the video. I'm just trying to get you guys to see that this is all coming to a head, and it's going to be quite exciting. Here's Ken Sarbo saying, absolutely, this should be on a giant billboard in every city in the U.S. What is that? America does not need to see the tax return of a billionaire who became a public servant. America needs to see the tax returns of public servants who became millionaires while being public servants. Is that not true? Right? You have AOC and so many others becoming millionaires, and when they were on a $174,000 salary, right, and becoming multi-millionaires, and including the Pelosi's and many other world, and it's on the right as well, the Mitch McConnells, etc. Those are the what we really need to see. I showed you that one, and this was from yesterday. I wanted to dig a little bit into this before John Michael Chambers comes. He's going to be coming here shortly. This is really looking at the huge study about sunscreen. And one thing I've learned about this whole industry of big pharma wanting to make us sick, they try to figure out every single way they can make us sick. Dr. Artist did a whole thing on toilet paper, how there's cancerous in toilet paper. So you want to go get bamboo toilet paper, right? It's like crazy. And now sunscreen's the next big studies actually showing this. And even sunglasses. They make sunglasses. If you wear sunglasses, you're cool, right? But if you're on the sun, God's made your eyes to be able to understand the sun's there, and it pulls out the pigment and the protection of your skin. So if you wear sunglasses, your body doesn't understand that it's that it's sunny, right? Does that make sense? So wearing sunglasses and putting on suntan lotion is the worst thing you can do out in the sun. Let's listen to this report.
Have I been lied to as a Florida man about sunscreen protecting me from cancer?
Yes, it appears we've all been lied to, unfortunately. This massive study of over 470,000 people confirms it. It's very worrisome that when they compared sunscreen users to non-sunscreen users, the sunscreen users faced increased risks of all the major skin cancers: melanoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and basal cell carcinoma. So all of these cancers were up, but the most worrisome finding was that invasive melanoma was 300% higher risk in the sunscreen users. They accounted for skin color, time spent outdoors, and many other things, sex, age, and they still found these increased risks of the cancers. When you use sunscreen all the time, you're blocking your body's ability to synthesize vitamin D, which is critical for cancer defense. So you do not want to shut that off. A JAMA study just came out and found all of those active ingredients in the sunscreens get into your circulation. They get into your body above FDA regulatory limits. So what I would say is avoid sunscreens if you really have to use it. If you'll be out in the sun for 6 hours, midsummer day, you still want to use something. I would use zinc-based sunscreen, not oxybenzone, none of those hormone-disrupting chemicals.
So zinc-based sunscreen in general. And so keep your sunglasses off. You're going to talk to optometrists and things are blamed on the sun. Like, God's an idiot. He put this big, huge ball that's going to make us all sick, right? It's just not really what's happening here. So I see John Michael Chambers is coming on, so we'll figure out we'll get him on as soon as we can, because we want to make that as exciting and get as much time from him as we can. Again, if you have questions for John Michael Chambers, make sure you get that. And so again, the whole point being be careful of too much sunglasses and too much sunscreen. That's what it was kind of shocking when you start really thinking about what's going on there. I was showing you guys let me come back to this one here. Yeah. And so again, once I guess we got a test going on with John Michael Chambers doing a test, so we'll see him here shortly. Here's this post that Trump put up here about kind of holding the world, and he's got the American flag around him, etc. And I do believe that he could be anointed and by many people, by the Lord. He's anointed by the Lord to basically really save big portions of the world right now, right? That Satan doesn't take over before the time that God's not going to allow that, right? So he's using Trump as his David in this time. I think that's what's happening. So, and this is kind of pointing to a Q drop that was 2039, right? And where it says, "Where we go one, we go all. We the people, from sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring, patriots. It's your time. If America falls, the world falls. United we stand. God bless you all." Q plus. And Q plus is well known to be Trump when he gives us a message, right? Versus Q being the Q team, this under 10 people, 3 non-military. I believe Dan Scavino is one of those. And so who knows, maybe even Elon, but I think we should be surprised we're supposed to be surprised who's talking to you. So there's been a lot of speculation of that. But this really kind of talks about that, right? If America falls, the world falls. And then Trump posts, and this is a Trump post, right, from just a couple days ago, showing America and he's standing in the way of the globalists taking over the whole world. The globalists want to take it over before the time, right? I think we have a huge revival coming. The best is yet to come that Q would talk about, and that Trump and Don Jr., I just remember them even after the 2020 loss, the stolen elections, they were continued to say the best is yet to come, because they knew that they had a military operation going, and even with losing the presidency, they could keep control of the commander-in-chief, Cheyenne Mountain, and do the military operation called a continuity of government, right? That believe what they knew that we didn't at the time, right? Now, God said he was going to give Trump 2 terms. We had no idea it was going to be interrupted, but what Kim Clement said and many prophets were basically saying Trump's going to have 2 terms, so he's got to win this election, right? And then when he called everybody a false prophet, when God was just showing, hey, sometimes your interpretations are wrong, right? And that's what we learned, I believe, from that. So, John Michael Chambers, you let me know when you're ready. I think he's coming back on. I see Gus is here as well. Here's Dr. Eli David. All schools in Gaza have been closed for 625,000 students for 6 months. So this is what the Gaza is talking about. It's saying, hey, we have 625,000 students, children in Gaza. But what's interesting is that before the war started, they had less. So before the war, there were 625,000 school children in Gaza. Israel committed a genocide during the war. After the war, there were now 660,000 school children in Gaza. So Israel is the most incompetent genocider in history. And I just wanted people to understand that. When you have the Muslims going in and just destroying an entire village and killing everybody, that's a genocide. When Israel goes in and kills the terrorist and you have a low civilian rate compared to other wars, and the population actually grows, right? That is not a genocide. Let's get the definition straight, right? So I see John Michael Chambers now coming in. So we'll wait till I guess he's, so I think I've got you already added. Let me make sure. No, you came back in. So let me grab you to another camera real quick. There you go. All right, John Michael Chambers, are you ready to roll?
Good morning, 6 a.m. Northern Thailand. Nice to be here.
Thank you for getting up early for us. We appreciate that. Yeah, we postponed this for about a half hour so that we could give you that extra half hour of sleep. But we really appreciate it.
Much appreciated. Thank you, and it's nice to be here with you.
Yeah, so I basically titled this "Live Guest on GITMO" because you have such great insight on GITMO and so much more. But I wanted to back up us a little bit, and just in case somebody didn't see you on last time, then. I know you're just growing tremendously with the JMC broadcasting. You can see the link down below in here. But tell us a little bit how you got into this war, what you did in your career beforehand, and when did all that change?
Okay, I'll be as concise and succinct as I can possibly be. On a subconscious level, I've been awake and at this war in a very unbeknownst and timid way my entire life. But in terms of more officially, I would say back in the, it's hard to peg it, early 90s, somewhere in there, I was handed a double VHS cassette by Bill Still, now free on YouTube. I encourage everyone to watch it, called The Money Masters. And that sort of, that began the rabbit holes. And ever since. So, I'm in my 3rd+ decade in terms of, participating, and increasingly so in multiple different ways over these 3.5 decades. Fast forwarding about 10 years ago, I hopped on social media and started doing some work. And about 7 years ago, I got thrown off everywhere, debanked, deplatformed, you name it. Formed American Media Periscope as my antidote to YouTube's games at the time, and that worked. We had a good run with AMP, and now JMC Broadcasting is what I broadcast on and with, and it's mostly a military intelligence and economic portal. And now we've added healthcare, where we strive to bring on credentialed experts, military, intelligence, economic, and healthcare. My awakening moment, if you will, and I wouldn't really call it an awakening, I would call it a validation of a not fully recognized awakening. And that would be back in the 90s, as I stated with the Bill Still videos, which really talked about money as debt, explaining the Federal Reserve. It sort of like a 3-hour video of similar to the contents in The Creature of Jekyll from Jekyll Island,
Mm-hmm.
but going back into much earlier when we used to trade, barter and all sorts of things.
Oh, wow.
But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
here I am. It's good to be here. Um, I stepped away for 3 days because those that have been following me see me coughing rather uncontrollably for the last 2 months on air.
Yeah.
To much criticism much criticism of the audience, and I would prefer, instead of criticizing my coughing, them suggesting good health for me, which most people did. But anyway, having said that, the cough seems to be 80% gone. I took a break for 3 days. I didn't have
Good.
to be on camera, and I went down to the islands in Thailand, Koh Samui, to do some grounding, some earthing, if you will, walking on
Good
the
for you.
sand and breathing in the fresh air and getting God's sun. And I just got back yesterday, so it's good to
Awesome.
be here. Back in the seat. I got a loaded schedule this week of shows and interviews, and you name it.
And you got to tell us a story about why Thailand, right? And where have you lived? Where have you lived all over these last 50 years?
68 years, at least in
Okay.
this lifetime. Yeah, I mean, born and raised in New York, was once a great place. New
Yeah.
York is an absolute disaster now. I've only been back 3 times since I left there 40 years ago, or 39 to be precise. I've lived in Florida on and off for 25 years. Enjoyed Sarasota and much of Florida. Love-hate relationship with it, but by and large, it was good. And also lived in Colorado for 8 years, probably the most creative time in my existence, in terms of business at the time,
Mhm.
as well as a songwriter. And
Mhm.
and then I lived in the Philippines for an hour and a half, a year and a half,
Mhm.
um,
Wow.
a while back, and I live in Thailand. So I guess I've lived in 3 countries and 3 states is what it comes down to. And why Asia and how long? I've written about that in some of my books and stuff. But basically, the short answer is, I had an Asian American wife way back. I'm divorced, and that's what brought me physically to Asia
I
later
gotcha.
to be with in-laws and so forth. And about 2008-9, I was looking for a lower cost country to semi-retire in. There's a lot of Americans, and they call us expats, do. And in fact, our whole business is geared towards helping expats get oriented and settled in foreign countries.
Wow.
I did it on my own. But I found Thailand after country hopping for a while, and I've been here 3 years now, back and forth 13 years, but I've been here 3 years officially, on a retirement visa. Have a home here, and we don't have any GMOs. The food is good, and I fight every day to save America and bring us back. And thank goodness our president, our white hats, and our ultimate commander in chief, God above, has got this under control.
Wow. My parents retired. My mom's passed now, but they retired down to Mexico, right? And kind of living like 20 cents on the dollar there, right? They can have a much better.
Yes.
Actually, they couldn't have retired, and it would have been real rough for them. So interesting.
Sure. Here it's 32. Their currency is called baht, BAHT, I think it's spelled. So their dollar, we'll call it. Their dollar is 32 to the $1 US. So the exchange rate is quite favorable. You can spend money and live just the way you do in New York or LA if that's what you want to do here. It's certainly available. But you can also get like an incredible meal for $4.
Right.
So you can live quite well on a simple Social Security here in Thailand.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have my studio set up. I'm familiar with the country, and we broadcast from JMC Broadcasting. My core team is in America, of course,
Mhm.
and then we have one in Brazil, one team member in Jamaica. And then we interview folks mostly in America, but Ricardo Bosi is in Australia, and we get people from foreign soil from time to time. But thanks to technology, I can get the work done regardless of what geographical location I decide to call home.
Yeah, exactly. CT Mitchell talking about how about organic sunscreen is talking about, we're talking about sunscreen, but just the fact that you went out and got sun, and you sound much better than you were when you were on last month, right? So I'm so excited about
Much
that.
better.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome. That is awesome. And then so tell us a little bit on your latest. I think one of the things that the latest military roundtable that you do.
Mhm.
Can you mind give us a little bit of summary on what people are thinking right now on this silent war?
Well, there's a great divide, as you well know. There's
Hmm.
two great divides, one could say. One, of course, is all of us God-fearing people that love America and want it restored versus all the lunatics, the deep state, the shadow government, and the blue-haired loonies that run around us that want to destroy America. There's that divide that we get. Okay. But then, of course, we have a divide within our own movement. And so everybody has a different view of what's going on, and it's understandable because
Hmm.
we're in a psyop war.
Yep.
We deploy psyops against the enemy. They deploy psyops against us. We deploy psyops against us as well for the betterment of us in this war. It's rarely complicated and exhausting for many of us. It's been going on, well, it's been going on for centuries, but we'll just say it's been going on for 10 years, pretty hard and pretty strong.
Right.
And
Since the
and people
escalator,
now,
since coming down the
yeah,
escalator, the war became
that's
more
right.
public for more people, right?
Without question, that's the point, the marker for sure.
Mhm.
But what I'm getting at to answer your question is, it depends who you talk to. What's happening. If you talk to Trump is, a Nazi and needs to be done away with, and then if you talk to the other side of our movement, I call it the other side because I'm not there.
Mhm.
That other side of our movement, well, there's two other sides in our movement. There's those turning against the president.
Mhm.
Shame on them. They'll eat crow later. I don't care to say that. I don't mind saying that. And in terms of the other division within our movement, that's understandable, more understandable for me because of the onslaught of information and disinformation and lies and propaganda that we've been taking in. But to answer your question now, the military and intelligence people that I interview, and by the way, folks listening all over America and the world right now, it's no secret. I'm not saying I got some guy hidden behind door number 3 who's my secret intel source. They're all published for you. Go to jmcbroadcasting.com, click on contributors on the navigation bar, and you'll see who my sources are. Their photographs, their biographies, and a link so you can connect up and follow them directly as well. I do have one source that's not publicly disclosed because that's the nature of that relationship. And that gentleman is known as Guardian Daniel R. But everyone else is right there. Thank you, Rick, for putting that up there. And so now to answer your question, with that being the basis, these military and intelligence experts that you see across the screen, um, and even, and I have two military panels. One is Eyes on GITMO, which is published every month. We're in our second year. Retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt. These are the regular participants. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Mack, who I'm sure you've had on your show. Juan's Chief of Staff, retired Marine. Captain Pete Matisu, relatively new to the circuit, someone everyone should follow on my broadcast. He's very, very powerful and very straight up, and a lot of truth. And then Juan O'Savin joins us on that panel when he's available. And then Global Defense War is the other military panel, which is in its second year. Derek Johnson and I had a discussion off camera, seems about 2 years now, and it was a brainchild of he and I. I said, let's put this together. And he and Sandy, one of my producers, helped gather the troops. So on that monthly panel, the staples are Ricardo Bosi, Derek Johnson, Michael Jaco, and then we have revolving fourth and fifth seats with Chuck Sellers and Colonel Sellers and Colonel Wenix and many others that join us, Brad Wozni. So now to get to your question, what's from their viewpoints, and then I'll cap it out with mine. You're going to get some people on the other side within our movement that say everyone's already dead.
Yeah.
Everyone's an actor. Yeah, everything already happened. And the truth of the matter is,
Like it wasn't.
from
I
my
think Hillary's been arrested like 75 times,
yes,
and then
yes, and she's
executed like 22 times. So
correct.
okay.
Now, what I've spoken with Juan off air. He was here in Bangkok. I don't know, seems about a month ago already. We had a 9 hour straight face-to-face meeting and a 3 hour follow-up in the morning before I flew home. And then you have the on-camera interviews. Listen, folks, the way I see it, then you have, I'm not going to mention the network, but a network that says parody on the website that says pretty much everyone's dead. My opinion is very simply this, and it's based on the information I get from all the experts that I interview, as well as my own awareness and research for the last, say, 10 years. Some people are dead, yeah. I can give you my opinions as to who I think, but anyone who tells you they know 100% for sure, unless they were in the room, it's just from sources they're following. And some are good and some aren't. So in my humble opinion, some are dead. Our panel has confirmed that. There's been hundreds of thousands of indictments being unsealed. There's been prosecutorial and investigative tribunals going on for years in 4 or 5 locations, land, air, and sea, multiple countries. The media center is done. It's constructed. It's like the size of a gymnasium at GITMO. Matt Meck was part of the design of that some years back. I know some folks that are in the process of being vetted with all the forms that you submit to be reporting from GITMO. So in my opinion, whoever's been executed, and there have been executions, I believe will be shown things, will be shown on certain unredacted emails, will be shown a lot of things. I believe there'll be a Nuremberg 2.0 ongoing trials a bit down the line. Like when? I don't know when. I didn't get the memo from the president, but the commander in chief. But if I were to go out on a limb based on all the interviews I've done, I would say we can expect that probably next year, the end of this year, something like that. But it's coming. It's coming. Now that's separate from the EBS. GITMO, we're going to be reporting from GITMO the way we have the press conference in the press room at the White House, or the way newscasts, fake Fox News and everybody else out there putting out their content. We'll be getting the truth straight from the horse's mouth. And that's what everyone's waiting for. And then all the hearsay and all the things, we can start to come together and breathe a sigh of relief when we get to see the perp walks. I'm not sure they'll show us people hanging from gallows. I sure hope they do. But they'll release information responsibly, at the right time, at the right drip flood marks. It's a military operation. I don't lose any sleep over it. Mm-hmm. Just let them do what they do.
Let them cook.
I'm here to, that's right. I'm here to watch it.
Yeah, I love that. It seems like there's so many commentators out there and so many people on X that basically Trump is an idiot, right? It's like I would do things differently. It's like they know more than Trump does. It's like it's just like I have full confidence that you just need to let him cook, right?
President Trump, I don't need to say this. People know this. But that man has taken the arrows for every one of us. Mm-hmm. That man has dodged bullets, perhaps some of it psyop, perhaps some of it real. But the president and his family have endured an enormous amount. He was recruited and proposed by 200 generals and admirals back before 2015, stating, and this, the best videos for this are the Joe M videos that walk you through that. He's on X. You can find him there. We have all his videos posted on Library of Truth on my website. But basically what I'm getting at is we're at war. And it's a war first and foremost to restore our sovereignty, sovereign souls under God's jurisdiction, the Constitution, Declaration, and Bill of Rights, restoring the Republic. And then a course correction for all of humanity. This is for the human race. That's why it's so big and so expansive. And that's also why the Area 51, we'll call it, files are now being released. So anyone who turns on the president, look, it's not politics as usual, where you can sit down and we're going to criticize the president and dot the I's and folks, you have no idea what's really going on then. It's continuity of government. It is a military operation. Hate to say it, but you have no say right now. So that's the way it rolls. This is martial law on steroids. This is the man we put in office. He's getting the job done. This is the man recruited by 200 generals and admirals, and they're cleaning out the bad ones. I mean, you know what's going on. If you think you can do a better job, then you go run for office. Okay? I would take a bullet for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I am on this as well. Not kind of, it is where I am. It's just that's what the Q operation did, is it got us all to research so much that we could pull back all the lies and layers and look at this at a 40,000 foot view and understand that Patriots are in control, right? Like was posted today, I think it was on the White House, right? Or 2 days ago with the Patriots are control there.
Yes.
And Trump with the world, holding the world, right? It's just so many things. It's like, wasn't been like 20, 25 over the last month direct Trump post or ad or that of Q terms, completely giving a nod to Q.
Yes, and that's a wonderful vindication for folks like you and I and many of your viewers, because they called us Q-tards and conspiracy theorists. I think the DHS many years ago had it on a domestic terror watch list or something of the sort. But I always said, listen, folks, anyone who bought that narrative, it's okay. You made a mistake. You can see it today, but you were in the same camp with the enemy, with the fake news media that denounced it. That should have been something to help wake you up and say, well, wait a minute. I shouldn't be in the same camp with them. I don't believe anything they say. But for some reason, they were. But that's okay. Again, disinformation, misinformation, psyops, information war. We can all, and I want to clarify a point I just made when I said there's nothing you, meaning all of us, can do about it. Well, yes and no. We voted. That's what we did. And even though we had our election stolen, we got the president officially in twice. The dash meant something. He was actually president the whole time. But the other thing is, I've always said this may not be in the exact order, but the command and control is God, Trump, the military, the White Hats, and we the people. We have a role to play, not to turn on our commander in chief in a time of war. That's not our role.
Amen.
Our role is to do what you said, Rick, like the Q drops sent us down the rabbit holes, and all those that didn't go down there because it's complicated, that's fine. That's what networks like mine and yours and others bring to the table. And there you've got to be very selective too, because there's a lot of podcasters out there. In fact, probably the lion's share of them not worth their salt. And then there's disinformation plants, and we know where their funding comes from, and they're going to be dealt with. Be selective who you follow and who you listen to. It is an information war. Those of faith, ground yourself there. Surround yourself with like-minded people who understand the times in which we live. Whittle down the sources. Lean and mean, as 107 says, pick a lane and stay in the lane, and you'll be okay. The victory is ours, and a lot of the victory has already been secured. That's how I see it. I do believe some people have been executed. I do believe some of the operations we see unfolding have already happened or really aren't happening the way you see. It's all part of the movie, the script, the battle plan, the operation. And, people have false expectations because they're also following false podcasters. People that have put out all this information. Oh, the EBS next Tuesday at 3. I heard that for what, 8 years? Come on, guys, give it up. What happens when it happens? And according to the generals and the colonels and the Delta forces and the special ops military people and 107, who serves in both intelligence and in under some capacity military. I'm not privy to state that officially, but I know it officially, and what part and all that. But what I'm getting at is is they all say the EBS will happen. I haven't had any of the military folks or intelligence folks say it's not going to. It will happen. Timing, everyone should be careful about, including them, and they are careful. There are no dates. I mean, if there was a date, it would refute the purpose of the EBS. So, it'll happen when it happens. And according to the consensus that I can summarize for your audience from the military folks I interview, which have earned the respect, and again, they may know certain things they won't tell us. Some have clearance, some don't. They're entitled to their own opinions based on what they know as well. So there's the human element. But at the end of the day, I'd rather listen to brigadier generals, retired Delta Force special ops, lieutenant colonels, than some guy in a tank top, who just launched a podcast because he's looking for clicks. So at the end of the day, the consensus is there will be EBS. How it's deployed and where it's deployed and to what duration varies from person to person. It's all speculation, but it's coming, and it will reveal things that we need. It'll also do what it's supposed to do, help us if there's water shortage or electricity issues or danger on the street. It's going to serve a few different purposes. 10 days of darkness, everything will be revealed through EBS. I don't know. I believe some of that will happen, and I believe other measures, like if there was a hurricane or a tornado or an earthquake or a tsunami, you use emergency broadcast system to alert people where to go, where not to go. I think you get a lot of all of that. And it will be short-lived, is the general consensus. And there is 1 million, not for fear, but better a little caution and a great regret. There's 1 million National Guard and Army Reserves officially deployed, posted, and ready in all 50 states for anything that may be coming our way. And but again, it'll be short-lived and it'll be worse in other locations. And one can go out on a limb and say the areas that'll be potentially more dangerous would certainly be the crazy blue states that have, have all the problems deployed there. But let's hope it doesn't get that bad. Yeah, purposely. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But the warnings are there. It's official. So pray, plan, and prepare. But outside of that, there's so many amazing victories that we have. We have, and are yet to come. We are absolutely crushing this. If you want to use the metaphors of dark to light, it's getting very light if you look in the right places. It's almost over for them. The exit ramps are closed. They have some control over a few things, but not much. And we just have to let it play out. And it's my opinion that after July 4th, just a week away, from July 5th forward, and we can, if you want to peg a date, let's say midterms, which we're told by 107, he could be wrong. He's been wrong before, but he's been right quite a bit about stellar events. But he's on the record stating we may very well have a midterm pause. But even if we don't, we know the national emergency will be declared. I'm not worried about the midterms at all. I don't think we will ever have in my lifetime another stolen election. It's not going to be permitted. And so people just let it play out. Don't worry about what you can't control. Follow good sources of information, and get a bigger bucket is my answer when people say I'm tired with the popcorn. Get a bigger boat in Jaws, get a bigger bucket, because there's a lot more to come.
Yep. Because this is an interactive movie, right? So you're eating popcorn, but you're also a role player, right? So
that's right.
It makes me. I'd like to come back to a couple of subjects. One's Iran, right? Everybody thinks that Trump's making this mistake but he's doing some things behind the scenes that are way bigger. This is worldwide board of peace. That's a miracle to think that he's pretty much replaced NATO, right? I just think it's brilliant, some of the things he's doing. And this whole negotiating with fourth or fifth layer of leadership there it makes me think this Islamic republics are in a big world of hurt. Any thoughts that you have on Iran?
Well, the operation, particularly Ricardo Bossi has commented rather as a matter of fact, and those that follow retired Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Bosio of Australia One Party out of Australia know that he's not afraid to speak his mind. He says much of the operation we see unfolding has already happened. So I would concur with him then. But the part of it is live still. And as you stated, it's a huge operation, and we've covered it before, and I'm sure your audience realizes it was in part about exposing and severing the power center of London and Israel as related to Iran. And Iran, like Cuba and North Korea and other countries and Venezuela, are bogus countries, bogus states, if you will, that are CIA, Mossad, and other operations used to keep the world in war and to keep the world in fear and to run all their money through all their biolabs and their drugs and their children and so forth. So Iran, in parts, exposed and severed the money center of London, funding Iran. So much came out of that. The oil is now coming back down. But when time it's all said and done, in just my opinion, I don't know if that's a year from now or whenever, you'll see oil probably hanging in the $40 range, creating inflation. I mean, it's so much happened in Iran, so good, with where China how they get their oil now, how they operate. We're the largest supplier, manufacturer, distributor of oil in the world. I mean, next country, they've already indicted Castro. You've got Greenland for different reasons. Trump's talked about 56 states. Now, Obama did too, but the mistake Obama, he wasn't talking about the same 56 states the president is. Back in the day when Obama flubbed on an interview, like a, major interview, 60 Minutes or something, where he was corrected by the show host. He said, all 56 states. And then the guy he corrected him. And he also said, my Muslim faith. And the guy corrected him on that. He said, you mean your Christian faith? But anyway, back to your question. Yeah, Iran's a huge success. People don't see it for what it is. People think we're at war with Iran and killing the Iranian people and all that's nonsense. It's a side benefit as the country gets liberated now, that they can get rid of that Islamic takeover that happened in the 70s that destroyed freedom in that country. They're going to have to work all that out, and I'm sure they will, and that's a wonderful thing. But that wasn't why we went in there. And we've got other countries coming.
Uranium One and the nuclear dust. He talks about it, right?
Yeah.
Because the Q drops, probably one of the major themes was all about Uranium One and Obama and Hillary basically being traitors to the country, right?
Yeah, well, they funneled all that cash there. We know about the 1.7 billion on the pallets in the night. We've seen the films. Biden dumped, I don't know the number. I think it was $1 billion something over there as well. So they were funding the largest sponsor of terror, nuclear, this close to nuclear weapons, death to America, death to Trump. We weren't the only countries they were going to take down with nuclear weapons, Israel, America, others. Sure, that threat is now gone. Thank you, President Trump, our commander-in-chief. Peace through strength. And as a sidebar, a nation now stands a chance to liberate themselves from the yoke of tyranny that they've endured since the 70s. So the world is changing. It's a course correction for all of humanity. It'll take 20 years before it all settles down. First and foremost, as we all know, is right here, your home. I still even home in Thailand. America, home. That's where it begins. And that UFC event, I did a monologue on my Eyes on Gitmo show about the UFC. It was a piece I read, 19 minutes long, from a source I can't cite right now. I had two conflicting places of who the source is. I'll get it to you, because I don't want to plagiarize or take credit for it. But it went viral. This is UFC 250 Freedom Eve, the night before. And I remember here in Thailand, I'm 12 hours ahead of you guys. I did the Eyes on Gitmo recording. We published it, and I told my production team, excerpt out the UFC 20-minute monologue. and run it as a standalone. And a few hours later, it had 100-something thousand views just on Facebook on one post.
Wow.
I said, this thing's going viral. Yeah, I said, this thing's going viral. Well over 1 million views when I woke up the next morning. And that's just one post on Facebook. I don't know where it's been picked up and everywhere else, but why? Because it was the truth. All the symbolisms of what really took place at UFC 250. I encourage your viewers to catch that episode. And even better than that, I did a special broadcast last week with retired Lieutenant Colonel Tom Lennox, retired Captain Rob Cunningham, recovering banker Will Barney, and Christy Allen, who does Tsunami of Truth at JMC Broadcasting. We brought her on camera. She's usually audio. And I hosted it. And I went through that UFC speech, I'll call it, breaking down all the symbolisms and what really was happening there. And I had the panel comment on it. That is worthy of watching, more so than me on the monologue alone.
Wow.
But,
So,
you know,
so,
some
so
of the
can you give like the 50,000-foot 2-minute version?
Yeah, I wish I didn't come prepared with any talking points
Right.
to be on the show today, but so I won't do this any justice. I don't have the photogenic memory that our good friend Derek Johnson has, but I can give you some of the highlights. It has to do with consent,
Mhm.
public rituals.
Mhm.
The king and queen having come here beforehand was a
Mhm.
precursor to UFC 250 and all those things that took place. It was the finalization through the ritual of and I'll explain what the fights were about in a minute. And it has to do with the closing of the book on 1871 and British control over the United States republic, constitutional republic. The fights represent America and foreign, right? Now, what was a pleasant surprise was that fighter, I don't know his name, but who, decided to tell the world, Michelle Obama is a man. America, don't you believe that?
Yep.
Or, America, what do you think, or something? Well, when you have a stage that big, that is not an accident, in my opinion. And so that was unleashed. And that was nice narrative to put out there because, of course, everyone Googled the hell out of it. Perhaps a lot of our audience here knows about Big Mike and have looked at that subject for years. But you know what, folks? Most of the world hasn't.
Mhm.
And now they're looking at it. And they're finding some things out. Now, what I find interesting about that moment is very simple. If you think about it, a first lady, Melania, Jackie O, I can't say Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush's wife. I'm not quite sure that's a woman. Do the homework, folks. But the women, first ladies that have come before, if a fighter on a grand stage at the White House ever said that, more than likely she would sue for
Right.
defamation of character.
Right.
How dare you say that on the White House lawn, on an event put together by the commander-in-chief and president, and defame a first lady, powerful position? They would sue. Well, why hasn't Michelle Obama sued? Let's see. I'll give you a second to think about it. Oh yeah, lawsuits require discovery. I don't think she would like what they would discover, and it may prove the fighter to be right. So we're waiting, Michelle. We're waiting for your lawsuit.
Yes.
But I found that just a nice little gem. But I encourage everyone.
So where would people find? Go ahead to finish up. Sorry.
No, you're right. You and I are on the same trajectory. I would love your audience to go to the special broadcast I did. It's on my Rumble channel. It's probably still on my homepage of my website under special broadcast, under the broadcasting section. You'll find it's about a week old. It's called Special Broadcast UFC. It had Tom Lennox, Will Barney, Captain Rob. If you scroll a bit, I can find it for you. If it's still on the homepage, keep going. That's a different show. That's a different thing. Okay, broadcasting guide. Okay, right there. Broadcasting now. Scroll slowly. Thank you for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Your audience will greatly benefit from this.
Mm-hmm.
Keep scrolling. We're looking for special broadcast. There it is. You see that? Stop. You see me with the blue sports coat, JMC special broadcast, the UFC.
All
If you
right.
scroll a bit, you'll see the title. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
It'll remain up there till the next special broadcast comes out, and I don't know when that is because they're special broadcasts. But that's the one worth everybody's time. Trust me.
I'll put that in. I'm
Not
putting
because
that in the chat right now for YouTube, Rumble, and the backstage.
and my website.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, the reason I encourage your audience to go there, I covered sequentially all the key things of the UFC speech, and then had the panel members elaborate and weigh in on it. And what came out was extraordinary. I mean, I learned so much. I mean, I knew a lot, but I learned a lot more. And you'll really get to understand what the president was doing. And this wasn't just a weird Trumpism. We're going to have fights on the front lawn because I'm Donald Trump and I like Dana White. No, you got to be kidding me. This is part of the military operation. And when you watch this broadcast, you will go, holy smoke. And you'll be very happy you did. And so, yeah, so there's a lot going on. You're right, Rick. We're done with NATO. For all intents and purposes, UN, World Economic Forum, NATO, all this stuff, toast. We're leading the way. Trump walks in fresh off the heels of the UFC and all the other things we've been doing. Walks into the G7 and says, what? I am the boss, and goes and sits down. That wasn't a mistake or a Trumpism either. He is the boss. It's all been neutered, okay? And 1871 is done, and the fringe is done. And if you still see fringes in present day stuff, I don't have an answer for that yet. I'll ask my panel about it. But by and large, you're not going to see that fringe on anything official moving forward. It's over. And you see all the talks about no more taxes. The president wants people with $150,000 a year or more earnings to not be taxed any federal income tax anymore. I can cite a million sources from Scott Bessent, Dan Scavino, and President Trump talking about dismantling the IRS as we know it and the Federal Reserve. All the evidence is before you. Is it officially done? I know a lot of people say yes, even some of my panels. Okay, yes. Yes, it is to an extent, but it's still an unraveling. Why? Hey, some people are still getting IRS notices. That's why. Why also? Hey, everyone still has the women in their pocketbooks, green dollars, men in their wallets, green dollars. So I would say the Federal Reserve and the IRS still functions. It's just on its deathbed, and Trump is stripping the powers away and moving them back into the Treasury and moving it back into the executive branch, and hopefully completely dissolving and getting rid of the Federal Reserve, or at least moving their powers away into the Treasury to serve the American people. All of that is happening. Some of it's happened, and more to come. And this is incredible news. And you mentioned, Rick, the Board of Peace. Well, now it'll be profitable and popular for 80, at least I think it's 60 or 80 nations that signed up and paid $1 billion to do it. It'll be popular and profitable to not have war.
Yeah, exactly.
We're changing the paradigm.
Yeah, let's start trading with each other and having all these deals together. And that's what they're trying to do with Iran, I believe, is trying to get to where the people of Iran, at least some leaders, will go, wow, we could have a economic prosperous if we just do not have our number one goal, destroy Israeli people. Right? So
well, now you're hovering over the big issue, as you well know. Q stated, I'm paraphrasing, if not a direct quote, save Israel for last. Right. Well, if you think back a year ago, certainly 2 years ago, you wouldn't have a narrative permeating within our movement that despises Netanyahu, calls him a war criminal. You wouldn't have that overwhelming in our movement. You have that now. You wouldn't have everyone saying, hey, what up with Israel? It would be blasphemy to talk against Israel. But a lot of people, biblical scholars, I'm certainly not one, but a lot of Sheila Holm has done a great job explaining the Israel and Israelites of the Bible versus today, and what happened in the takeover, and who and why Israel isn't what everyone thought it was. modern day.
Yeah, and I did totally disagree with Chile on that. I've done way too much research, but again, that's what I love about this. We can all think for ourselves, and I believe Israel for last is just the fact that it's got, just like our CIA is completely rogue, right? The Mossad.
Yes, I agree.
The Mossad's got. But there's people. Remember, the Mossad and the left tried to take Netanyahu out, just like they tried to take Trump out, right? So there's different opinions there. I'll spend more time with you on that. But that's why
you know more about it than I do. But our common ground on that is it's not what it seems. It's another CIA operation.
No question.
Just like the other countries we named that have caused all kinds of trouble on a once great land where Christ was born and all the things that everyone talks about. But at the end of the day, it's the Khazarians that took over. Am I right or wrong there?
I have whole articles about how that is wrong. So,
okay.
So
well, you see,
but that's because we do research and we're coming to different solutions right now. Are there Khazarian Jews? Yes, but very small number. And well, they're Luciferians now. We all know that. The ones that are controlling the deep state in the CIA and the Mossad are this Luciferians that became crazy, right? It's not the average person in the government of Israel. And so the Khazarian Jew thing has gone way too far and is incorrect. But it's a whole thing. I'll throw you some articles just so to give you another look at that.
Here's where I stand on Israel, since I don't know all the detail. I just know something's not right.
Yeah.
And I know that Q said, save Israel for last.
Amen.
And I don't believe that Netanyahu's a good guy. In fact, I believe this is 2.0 Netanyahu. And I think, like I say to people, get a bigger bucket or expect the unexpected and expect nothing else. Otherwise you could be disappointed. I'm just going to wait and see how Israel plays out.
Yeah.
It's just brewing.
I think we all agree that the Mossad and the, just like the Five Eyes, have massive rogue elements in them. Right, and that one of the worst is the Mossad, right? So I think everybody agrees with that. I
mean, their fingerprints seem to be on 9/11. Their fingerprints seem to be on Epstein. Their fingerprints seem to be on many things.
Yeah, along with our CIA, right in bed with our CIA. Right.
Well, back to Kennedy, right? Splinter it to wither in the wind.
Good fun discussion.
And I love that. That video, the Kennedy offsprings. Do you ever see that video of some song called Tinder? All the Kennedy kids and grandkids and different, all in different locations did a singing of a famous song of some sort, talking about timber, knocking the trees down. And the whole, they start off with JFK. I have it on my website. If you, where they show Junior when he was 5 years old, saluting at the casket. It's all about the message by using that song and having all the Kennedy offsprings singing it. The message is, we're taking you down.
Yeah, amen.
You're going to chop down just like a tree, like my grandfather, John F. Kennedy Sr. said.
Hey,
it's a great little video.
Let's go back to the economic thing, because I think that's real important. So,
sure.
So do you personally, I know you're not a financial advisor, but when it comes to gold, silver, reevaluation of currencies, crypto type stuff, and if you had a young son that was asking your advice, what would you do now during this time period? Where would you be investing if you did have some treasures? Where would you be investing?
Bullion only, gold and silver, not just silver. I know everyone only does silver, and I understand why, and you can't go wrong doing that. But the reason I like both is because unless it gets retracted or doesn't come to be, and I would find that, unlikely, but there's a narrative out there by the administration and others. Juan O'Savin has told it to me personally and publicly, as recent as a month ago. The president may revalue gold to about 20,000 an ounce or a little bit higher. That's why I like gold too. All narratives look like gold will be the main hard asset in the process as we begin to issue a new treasury-backed currency. So I like gold. Clearly, silver, it's undervalued, huge demand. We know the whole silver story. So silver is phenomenal. I own both. Any chance I can move any excess cash that I have to operate my JMC broadcasting, I'm now moving that into gold or silver, acting as a cash holding for me. These pullbacks that are happening right now, I'm being completely transparent and honest, just leaving out the dollar amounts because I have a right to my privacy. But 2 weeks ago, when the first down, I said, yeah, cash out right into silver and gold. Yep. And I just did that 2 days ago as well.
Buy at the low points, right? Buy at the dip.
Absolutely.
Right.
Silver, I believe, again, and now we're shifting gears to more of the economic experts that I've spoken with. And I myself am a recovering financial advisor. I had 6 independent offices in 3 states. So I know a little bit about the other side of the fence. And your good friend, Dr. Kirk Elliott, a good friend of mine, 18 years. He and I learned a ton from each other in different respects. And I'm on top of it. I'm not an expert, but I probably know more about it than most of the guys in the cubicles dialing for dollars selling this stuff. And it's a buyer beware market. You've got a good source there. Kirk Elliott's a good man. He takes very good care of people. Anyone listening to this broadcast should sleep well at night if you're investing with Kirk. And by the way, he gets hit very hard. There's some stuff on the internet out there occasionally. None of it's true in terms of the enemies, because he got very big and the competitors don't like him.
Because he does bullion only, which gets you the maximum amount of silver for the least amount of storage cost, and you're not being sold these 50%. People are making 50% margins on coins, right? It's like rare coin. Here you go. So
they're like 20 to 80% markups. We've seen all the invoices. Most of the companies are doing that. I'm sorry to report, and most of them double dip. They'll charge it's a commissionable product. It's like if you buy a house from a real estate agent, you pay the commission. It's a tangible asset. So you pay a commission to buy your gold and silver, but you shouldn't pay it when you sell it back. And that's a feature of Dr. Elliott and just a couple of other folks. A gentleman I work with does the same thing. But I'm going to start launching in August a whistleblower. I'm not going to name the companies because I don't want to get sued. And I'm not going to name the individuals, but trust me, I know who they all are. And I'm going to start doing a broadcast educating the public with a precious metals expert, sort of as a whistleblower, sort of like what Doge did to expose all the crime within our government and all the abuse. We're going to do the same thing, but not naming the entities, just giving tools to people to identify it so they can come across to the couple of 3 good folks that will take good care of them. Kirk is beyond that referral list.
Right. So I think you and I are totally on the page on buy low at silver at 58, guys. so I know you have silver dealers as well. You've worked with Kirk in the past, but guys, call Kirk and just get your advice. It's free financial consultation. But there's also people are talking about this currency reset, and people are talking about XRP and being the rails for the new financial system. Do you have any thoughts on that? Does your team or of experts have thoughts on those?
I do. I learn a ton, and they learn a ton, and we're all learning a lot because this is new. We've never been here before. So we're all, and it's not like the administration is making it crystal clear for us either. You have to go dig and connect your dots. And that's why I love Rob Cunningham and Will Barney, to name a couple on the finance side. Tom Lennox, retired lieutenant colonel. He's 80 years old. Everyone brings a different, Josh Reed brings a different set of knowledge, experience, and research to the table. This is what I come away with from the collective of that. In the simplest layman's sense, 2 parallel economies, 2 parallel currencies. Right now we have our Federal Reserve note, also known as the US dollar. It's way up on the dollar index. Things are very confusing on the surface. It's at 101 on the dollar index, which is very strong. A month ago it was at 96, very weak. But the trajectory ultimately will be, as I understand it, that Fed note comes down and will collapse. At some point, from where it is today to the scale down, Trump's going to release the new currency. He already published through the Treasury Department on March 26th, them telling us that there'll be a new currency. Didn't say federal or reserve anywhere in that press release from the Treasury Department. It spoke of a Treasury note and the talk of putting Trump on a $250 bill, which I think is the right thing to do. 250th anniversary. He's the guy that returned us to sound money. History will write that once it happens. You bet, put him on there. And don't take away my Ben Franklin. But anyway, you're going to have that currency, the new money, come out at some point. And there'll be, yes, competing currencies. And so those that want to stay in a Federal Reserve note, money as debt that's going to be collapsing and crashing in a central bank system, go ahead. A lot of folks with blue hair will stay there. Everyone else will probably want Trump's gold-backed, commodity-backed currency. As I understand it, could be wrong, it happens in stages. There'll be a period of time where both currencies, Fed note goes away, we rise to the top again. Boom. Okay. Will other countries use our currency? Perhaps. Will other countries follow the president's advice, which is if you're in Africa, back your currency by diamonds. If you're in an oil-rich country, back your currency by oil. Let's see how it plays out. Do they do that and keep buying the new restored dollar? But we will have constitutional money. We will have, per the Constitution, God's money restored to back our currency. Trump said, I'm giving you back your country. And you can't fully give us back our freedom and our country without restoring sound money. So it's coming. And then I believe it moves into a stable coin. There'll come a point where the narrative, everyone's comfortable in the new Treasury note. The other one's going down. Trump's happy. We're all happy. We got our gold and commodity-backed strong currency, real money, not money as debt. No more inflation, very, very low, if anything. No more controlled inflation by design, profiting the banks and ripping all of us off. That's over. And also that's part of Iran. They can't do that. We're not pegged to that petrol oil, plus we control the oil now. But, okay, so dying Fed note, new Treasury dollar, moves after some time, my opinion, president narrative will be, hey, you know what? Money, paper money, it's old. It's crazy. We can do things faster and better and less cumbersome with more safety into a stable coin. And then we transition into stable coin. Then stable coin, which has our money in account, goes into a QFS, a highway system that gets rid of the central bank system, gets rid of the SWIFT system, allows money to transfer in split second, no hands in the cookie jar. You control your money. If I want to send you money, I'll send it to you. You got it in 3 seconds, end of story. We're going to be there, and we'll have our own Space Force encrypted account. I'm told by a lot of the experts that the devices we'll have that'll be issued later will not just blink or face scan or thumbprint. It'll read your true vibration.
Wow.
Frequency.
Interesting.
And that's how protected your account is in that QFS ultimately. I think that's where we're all heading. And while there's a great debate to be had about it, just like there is robots and AI and digital money, as much as I support all of it, there's a good, healthy argument about problems with it. But right now, in my opinion, I am opinionated. Right now, nothing can stop what's coming. Nothing's going to stop any of those things either. Not going to happen. So get comfortable with it, get educated about it, and begin to take your proper steps. And that's what we're all going to be doing. And just like 25 years ago, I remember in Colorado, about 25 years, I don't remember, AOL came out and everyone's like, buying AOL. I'm like, I don't know, even know what it is. Internet, I'm never going to go on their line and put a credit card there, put my information there. Look what we all do.
Uh-huh.
You'll all be in your QFS with your encrypted money because you become your own bank. You don't need the banks. You're it. It's your money. And when the repatriation of wealth comes in, because that's going to happen too, this is what I've learned from everything I've researched and from my panel members is you're going to get repatriation of wealth in two ways. Bible speaks about jubilees. Q speaks about this. People like the terms Nasar, Gassar. Okay, some of those elements will play into this. It's all there. But I've learned that the Federal Reserve and the IRS, all that taxation that's been taken from us is illegal and unconstitutional and will be returned to us. That's income tax money. Then there's the corporate bond from the day you were born on that number on your certificate. It's not a conspiracy. I did a deep dive expose on it with experts. That is real. And that repatriation of wealth is coming back to us. The older you are, the more millions you'll have because the Vatican and London traded us. Mm-hmm. Our signature and our life's energy and made trillions over the years. They're figuring all that out. So fast forward, I don't know when, 2 to 5 years, pick a number. My opinion is 3 years. My opinion, it's all it is. The dates are scary because we're always wrong. Mm-hmm. If we knew all the dates, so would the enemies, right? So, but we're going to end up wealthy. We're going to become sovereign souls on a free land, God's jurisdiction. That's what that UFC was about. And back to the money and where crypto comes in a minute. I have some XRP I own. Why? There's 9 ISO compliant cryptos. Those are the ones, in my opinion, to look to. XRP is contracted, I believe, with certain aspects of the new highway. So even in the banking system, I think. But back in closing on the repatriation of wealth, very important. It's the, faith, hope, and love. Mm-hmm. It's hope, not hopium. It's hope for all those of us that don't have any money, mm-hmm. which is most of the country. Right. I mean, if you worked your whole life, say, if you were able to have a few $100,000 or a few $1 million, it's almost by a miracle because the whole system was designed to make sure you don't. Amen. So those that have succeeded, hats off to you. It was not easy. Walt Whitman once said something like, takes a great deal of caution, a great deal of effort to make a great fortune. And once you acquire it, it requires 10 times as much effort to keep it. Yeah. And so we're escaping that. And the hope is this. There are formulas worked out. We will have our devices. We will have sound money. We will have our wealth repatriated. And Elon Musk, who isn't just some goofy guy, he is part of the operation, make no mistake about it. Mm-hmm. And Elon Musk has stated, and I'm almost quoting, in a couple of years, maybe sooner, couple of 3-4 years, whatever he said, or maybe sooner, we won't have to save money anymore. There'll be no need to save money. Really? Then he went on and said, and there'll be no need to work. You can work if you want to, but you don't have to. Now you take those why? Because there'll be high, is the word he used, high universal income. So you have high universal income, a jubilee of some extent where debts will be forgiven, not only for the nation, but for us. And by the way, most of that 39 trillion isn't ours anyway. It belongs to the U.S. Corp, which is going through the bankruptcy and dissolved and belongs to the Federal Reserve because it was illegal and unconstitutional. And that's how all that'll play out. But back to you and me. What's in it for me? Whether you're rich or poor today, you're going to have a lot of money come back to you based on formulas. There'll be certain rules of how you can access that money in your QFS later because they know your frequency and vibration. AI knows what you will do next in life. So if you're going to do bad things, you may not get all the money. This is a wonderful thing because all the money launderers, all the fentanyl folks, all the sex traffickers, all the horrible things that have been happening are going to be very difficult for them to do because money will be in a QFS. We won't have to blow boats out of the water anymore because there won't be any bills in the boats to blow. So, the world is changing. I may sound like a lunatic. I may be off on some of these points, but this is the trajectory I see based on the experts that I've learned from. And so those with money right now, if you've been fortunate enough to collect, accumulate assets, get your 401ks and IRAs, in my opinion, largely into gold and silver. I have free educational modules on wealthcoachuniversity.com, 10 of them, called Get Out of the System. Gold and silver is the key thing. Folks in retirement, they're a different breed. Even though we have all this wealth coming and all this stuff coming, it's not here yet. And they don't want to get caught. If there's a stock market crash in that, they're looking for guaranteed income they can't outlive. There's all kinds of things people can and should be doing, but you got to think out of the box. If your financial advisors are still spewing woke Wall Street talking points, it's time to get a new team. And I have on wealthcoachuniversity.com, you scroll down a bit, there's a blue link. It's the only blue thing on the site, a little blue tab. It says click here. You can download or read 10 questions to ask your advisors. If they don't pass the test, you got the wrong team. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's complicated, but if you get the right team aboard, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs a helping hand sometimes to navigate the minefields, because the opportunities are there. Just got to navigate the minefields and do it quickly and be in the right place at the right time, and you'll sleep at night and you'll enjoy the show. Again, get a bigger bucket. Get a bigger bucket. There's a lot coming our way.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
But that's my take on the economy.
That's great. That's great.
I see silver. I see silver at a minimum. When all is said and done, time frames I'm afraid of. If you're forced to pick a time frame, not a date, I say come the end of this year, beginning of next year, maybe much sooner, you're going to see silver at $200 an ounce. Mm-hmm. There are reasons for that. It's not willy-nilly. It's not, following just the technical charts. It's a little bit of understanding what's happening with the paper trading in the market and the control mechanisms that the deep state can no longer do, and Trump putting a floor for silver and raising gold to where it belongs, not $42 an ounce as the Federal Reserve has it on their books. So when you look at all that and more, I see silver at a minimum of 200. And as you move forward a year or so, probably 500-600 an ounce. Some have it going far higher. I see gold at 20,000 because that looks like what the president's going to do. So buy gold, buy silver, buy bullion only. Don't get charged the commission on the back end. Buy it now.
Yeah. Amen.
That's the best thing to do, in my view.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And so, guys, again, that is wealthcoachinguniversity.com. I'll have all this in the show notes, so make sure you go to blessedteach.com, blessed with the number 2 teach.com, and you'll get a link to all of JMC Broadcasting's sites. So, as well as the wealth building, the wealthcoachinguniversity.com. So, but jmcbroadcasting.com down below, you've been there the whole time. You'll be able to see that as well. Hey, we want to end with some prayer for you again, if you don't mind. We'd love to understand what we can pray for. Anything come to mind personally that some of these these great prayer warriors can lift up for you?
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everybody. Yes, my health, everyone's health, and wisdom and protection from attacks, because people like us are over the jugular, and we've been protected. They're losing control. They're worried about their protections now, which we shouldn't give them. But I ask for health and protection and wisdom. That's really it.
Awesome. So I know we have one person that loves to come on right now at her morning in Australia. And so I'm going to start with Elizabeth. Elizabeth, would you mind lifting up John Michael Chambers?
I'd love to. I love following you, John. So you have some amazing, and obviously Ricardo being in Australia. So yeah, it's a real honor. And I'm just an hour ahead of you, so I know topsy-turvy worlds we live in. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for John. I thank you for his tenacity, his enthusiasm, his commitment. And I thank you got him this far. And I thank you that his health is going to be 100%. It already is. I thank you that you pour your spirit upon him. Every part of his body will work even better than you created it to do. I just thank you that you place a bubble of protection over him. And I thank you that he just water off a duck's back with anything that comes against him. I pray he stands in your authority because he knows he's a precious child of God. And I thank you that wherever he goes, the favor will come. Even if the battle is there, it's yours, Father. It's your battle. And I thank you that John comes under your umbrella and all his team, all his ministry, all his guests, Father God, because I know that the truth will set us free. And I just thank you that that freedom is coming bigger and bigger and bigger. And I know that this year is going to be pivotal. And we thank you that all these years we've been going, that we thank you that you bless John. You bless him. And yeah, it's just amazing that we've come to this time. And I thank you for the provision, the finance, and everything else that's coming his way in a mighty, mighty wind. So we thank you, Father God. We thank you.
Amen. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna. Yeah. So I'm gonna. John, are you there?
I'm here. Yes.
Okay. Let me just kind of piggyback on that. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for John Michael Chambers. Lord, you have brought him up for such a time as this, and Lord, just to continue the anointing you have on him. And Lord, he asked for his health. I know that you're the Jehovah Rapha, so we just ask that you just touch him with that Jehovah Rapha touch. That cough just goes completely away, does not return. Any spirits that might be trying to cause these type of things, we say, go to the pit right now and do not return. You cannot send anything in its place. Lord, we say that by the power of Jesus. By Jesus' name, go to the pit. Lord, protect him. We bind the rules and authorities and powers of this dark world that are trying to take him off his path. And we loose angels of all rankings division to help him stay on his path, Lord. And just give him what he's asked for here, Lord. And that is this wisdom, this discernment, and the not just protection. I ask for favor over his current team, his future team, his family, his future family. Lord, thank you for being our Jehovah Jireh, our Jehovah Rapha. We love you so much, Lord, and we say these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. John, I just wanted to give you the last word.
Well, thank you very much to you and the lady for your prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for inviting me on. I just want everyone to know I'm launching in terms of broadcasting. We're going to be launching soon a daily 30-minute news report. I don't have the host finalized yet. I'm resuming my daily war reports later this week. I had to sideline things due to health. And also, I launched Off-World with JMC. I'm bringing on a bishop who served in the military as well as a guest. But we had Alex Collier and Chuck Sellers. It's a monthly broadcast, picking up with the president, following the president's release of the Area 51 type files. And I'll be launching something later in July, a monthly called Fireside Chat with John Michael Chambers. Very different from everything else we've been doing. More candid discussion, just me talking to the audience. So we're putting, and our military panels remain, our financial shows. We've added healthcare with Christy Lee. It's a weekly show, Truth About Health.
Health freedom.
Bringing all the best doctors on. Yeah. So those are my updates on JMC Broadcasting. Thanks for the opportunity to get that across to your audience.
No, that's great. Hey, there was one quick question I forgot. Nat was from Sweden, was asking about any names that that have been not live anymore when that went to GITMO. If you had to guess,
I don't want to say what people who everyone knows told me off camera, because off camera is off camera.
Right.
But I'll tell you who I think is dead.
Mm-hmm.
George Herbert Walker Bush.
Interesting.
Dick Cheney.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
John McCain.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly Hillary Clinton. and maybe many others. I don't get too hung up on it,
Right.
because I know the ultimate victory is ours, and I know we'll be shown what we need to see when we need to see it. But they're finished, folks. They're finished. The light of God is too bright now, and his soldiers, from Trump on down to you and me, we did it, and we're almost at the final finish line. And then there's years of work ahead of us, but there's years of work in the golden age, these years of work in the light, these years of work in creating, these years of work of all the suppressed technologies coming to us, all the great things. So we just all have to hang in there. It's the 11th hour.
Yeah.
But I'm rambling here. But anyway, those folks are dead as far as I'm concerned.
Amen. God bless you. All right. Well, thank you so much. If the backstairs would mind unmuting and saying goodbye, we really appreciate you, Don Michael's Chambers. All right.
Yes.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless
John.
you.
All right.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. Thank you.
God bless. Thank you.
A powerful man for God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool stuff, guys. So we're going to move now to the Rumble channel called, and this is I'm going to move over to it right now to show you on the screen, and that is going to be Word and Worship. Right. This is where we're going to go worship the Lord and pray. And so if you have prayer requests, you heard Elizabeth pray there and me pray, you want other Annette and Linda and others to pray for you, make sure you go to this channel right here, Growing Your Faith, or just type in Word with the N. You'll find it, right? That's where we're going to be here in about 5 minutes. I'll send those of you on Rumble right now over to that channel with the Rumble raid in about 5 minutes as well. God bless y'all. Bye-bye.